where we discuss the connection between life and acting.
All righty, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. We are so excited to be here today. We're going to be talking a lot about commercials today with an up-and-coming actress who is a wonderful human being, beautiful from the inside out. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Miss Gigi Sabilla. I literally just asked him how to pronounce your name.
It's all good.
No worries.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
You know what? Happy to be alive. Thank you for asking. So, so you graduated from AMDA, yeah?
Yeah.
That's
in
amazing.
May.
So tell me about that. That's sort of a big deal to get into that program, right?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I auditioned when I was a senior in high school, and then I got in to New York campus, and so I moved to New York, packed up everything. It was crazy, and then we got like all of this like free things where we would get free tickets to Broadway shows, and we were on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, so we pretty much like got to explore the whole city, and it was crazy. So I did that for 2 years, and then packed everything up again and moved to Los Angeles and did it all over again for another 2 years.
Wow, is that a part of their program where you do 2 years there and 2 years in LA, or is that a choice?
Yeah, it's a choice. Most people in New York just move to New York and stay in there and audition and find jobs there, but I wanted to get my bachelor's degree, so I decided to do the full 4 years.
Well, that's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
That is an
Thank you.
amazing feat here. I'm going to give you a round of applause. So having done all this now, you're about to unleash your talent onto the world, and I know you were just signed by the Leighton Agency, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So you wanted to talk a little bit about commercial, and I'd love to dive into this because I know that a lot of our talent and viewers have some of the same questions. So maybe if you throw some things out there, we can all learn some things together.
Yeah, so being a newly signed actress, I've never been on a professional set. So I would just like to know, what was your experience the first time you were on a real commercial set?
Oh, man, I was giddy. I'm trying to remember the very first. I don't even know if I can remember the first professional set. What's interesting is even at the professional set level, because what do we define as professional? I think that kind of should be answered, because technically to be professional would mean that you're being paid, I guess, right? So
Yeah.
so that could be $10, $100, $10,000, and I've been on some unbelievable sets where I didn't get paid anything. Like for instance, I got the lead role in a capstone project for one of the local schools. I think it was ASU, go Devils. And
Yeah.
Oh, Devils go!
so I just remember being on the set, and they had all of the ASU equipment, like everything that ASU had to offer, they had on set. So it was like super amazing. And then I've been on other sets where I was paid pretty well, but it felt amateurish. So I guess what to expect is the unexpected. That's what I would say.
Absolutely.
Expect that you'll be giddy, expect that you'll be super excited, and then eventually, sooner than later, you just want to get over that idea, because, like, imagine this, okay? What was it like for you walking on campus for the first time at AMDA?
I was definitely nervous and intimidated because there was so much talent everywhere I went. So
And then you were like super excited, and then you couldn't,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Then what was it like, let's say toward the end of your second year walking on campus?
I felt like the top dog in town.
And it's just like it's like normal, right? It's like, oh, now
Yeah.
you're just used to this thing. So that's what it's like in the commercial world and on any sets. You're gonna do the same thing. When you first get in there, you'll be excited, you'll be nervous, but the idea is to get over that as quickly as possible. focus on the work, focus on the craft, so that you can be the top dog. You walk on, and it's not an arrogant thing. It's a I know what I'm doing thing. I'm here to work, or I'm here to graduate. I'm here to, learn my craft, whatever it is. I'm here to provide value to the commercial set, and then move forward from there. So,
and then on that, just not even just commercial sets, but all sets. We teach this in our Valleywood movie camp. So this is just a cool little side note to know. It's very much a hurry up and wait industry a lot of the time. So like, for example, for one commercial that I did, I was there and I got there, I think it was like I don't know, like 10 in the afternoon or something. And I was like hanging out, and they were like, had me in the makeup in whatever area. And I was there for like 6 hours before I actually went and did the spot that I was going to do. Because there was a bunch of other shots they were getting, and then they were waiting for the perfect like sundown point. Where it was like right at like, I don't know, like 7 or something. And so that whole time, just sitting there and like waiting to actually do the thing that I was there to do.
which, by the way, if you're a producer, let me just throw this out there. Don't bring the actors on set in the morning if you're going to shoot at sundown. I mean, I remember the same thing happened to me on the Will Ferrell shoot. So I did this movie with Will Ferrell with my wife, and it was an awesome experience, like super great. But same idea. They brought us in like 8 a.m. and we're like super excited. We're bringing like we're like all jazzed and ready to go. We get into wardrobe, and so it's like at 9 a.m. We're like, yeah. And then we hear from nobody till about 6 p.m. and they're just like, they would check in on us every now and then and be like, yep, you're good. Just keep sitting there.
Just keep sitting there. Keep that seat warm.
Here's the thing, though, for actors, it's exhausting because you have to stay ready. So we felt like at any point they might call us, and we got to be ready to bring our A game. And that's an exhausting process, to sit there for 12 hours and keep your ready face on. You
Absolutely.
know? And then that's exactly what happened is they came up and said, hey, you're up. And they rushed us to set. So that's the hurry up and wait part, right? They hurried us down there. It was the same idea, the sunset shot. And they were like, all right, basically you get one take at this because the sun's going down. So you don't get it right, you're not going to be in the movie, essentially. Like figure it out. And so anyway, it was pretty cool, just getting to be on set with Will Ferrell and the other kid that they had cast there, a very talented young man as well. But yeah, I mean, you're so right, Brian. I mean, that is the industry in a nutshell, is this hurry up and wait thing. So also like get used to that as well, Gigi, where it's going to be this hyped up thing at first, but then afterward you just realize, okay, like this is my job. This is something that I take seriously, that I love to do, but I don't need to make more of it than it is, because otherwise you're going to put undue pressure on yourself and you won't perform as well as you would if you're giving it like too much weight, or
Exactly.
or negative weight that might make you feel nervous.
That's great.
I was just waiting. We're like,
I'm just gonna let it be silent. Like, this show is every now and then there's an awkward silence. Usually, Gigi, it's when we pass the focus to Brian, but this time it was you.
It is usually me.
You were the awkward silent person today, for sure.
Man.
All right, Gigi. So
man.
what's our next? What's the next question revolving around commercial acting that we might be able to help you and some others with?
I guess, what are some do's and don'ts of being on set?
Do's and don'ts. Okay. Do get there early.
Don't get there late.
Do bring additional wardrobe choices.
Don't
sorts.
show up with no wardrobe choices.
Yeah, very good, very good. Are you gonna just continue to say the opposite?
I don't know. I might.
This will be a segment.
Might not.
Here we go. What else? I would say, ask good questions, the right questions, but you don't need to do it in such a way that's annoying. You don't want to be asking questions that you should know the answer to. I think sometimes actors overly, work on things. So like if you have a really smart question and you're like, hey, so from my character's point of view, I was thinking this. What do you think, et cetera? Like clearly you've thought it through. Versus just, I don't know, like I guess show up and listen, because a lot of times you get given the direction and it can be annoying if they have to repeat the direction over and over again. So I would say show up and try to relax and listen to the room a little bit. What else? You got any other positives here?
Positives. I would say.
I know you were so focused on reversing what I said.
I was
but I
really
kinda,
like that. Was
kinda
so.
blew
I was
that
like,
for you
how do
there.
I? I mean, there's a lot of ways. I mean, don't ask questions that you should know the answer to. Boom, done.
Yeah, right. But I already said it.
I mean,
so
I
no.
mean,
That's
yeah.
what he
So we'll
said,
just.
so it's
You're
not
right.
really
You're right. We'll just move on
reverse.
to the next thing. I would say on set, just being aware of everyone else, and as this is just kind of little side note, building relationships.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Like building relationships on set is such an important thing. And he kind of mentioned this, but the way you present yourself is something that will be remembered. And these producers, these people, they bring people back. They use people multiple times. So
Yeah.
if you make any one of these mistakes and you're just not paying attention to these things that are something that you should be aware of, then they remember that too. So
Yeah, we've got some pretty good do's and don'ts, I think, written in a little book.
It's time now for Brian Sweeney's Shameless Plug.
It's coming.
Shameless plugs.
acting is my day job. 7 strategies to market and make money as an actor. You're looking for a bunch of tips to get you ready for set? Boom, this is it right here. Tons of different exercises, actually literally on when you're on set, making sure you're tracking what you're doing, tracking who you're talking to, tracking all the relationships you're making so that you can continue to strengthen those relationships. Boom, acting is my day job. Get it pretty much anywhere, as Matt likes to say, on the planet.
Yeah, and you know, we got this great review. We've been very blessed so far. We've had some really nice reviews on the book, specifically on Amazon. But this one person wrote recently, buy the book, even if just for the PDFs alone. He's like, that it's well worth your money, and I totally agree. If you can get on there and download the PDFs, because there's a way for you to track everything that you do as an actor, and it includes the day of, and when you get to set, and who do you talk to, and whose name should I write down, and why am I gathering the information, and what am I going to do with it after I get it. Because now what you have to understand, Gigi, is you're now running a business. You are an entrepreneur as of today. You're making acting your day job is the idea behind the book. So you have to think of yourself as a business, as a startup company. And what would you do? Where would you invest your money? How would you invest in your product? By the way, your product is you and your talent. So you must be investing in your product. I couldn't sell more widgets or something. I can't sell more of these glasses if I don't buy more of them, right? So and then I want to be improving them. So I can't be selling last year's model. So you want to be investing in you. That's the product that you're trying to sell. And then you have to be investing in your marketing as well. So you've got to invest in headshots regularly. You've got to invest in, potentially an actor demo reel at some point once you've got that ready to go. You got to work on your branding. It's something you got to focus on and understand is definitely a part of this business now, ongoing, and that includes social media, having your own website, different ways to follow up, etc. But the main thing is the product.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
really, if you don't have a solid product, then it doesn't really matter how good you are at marketing yourself as an actor. You're still not any good.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, and at least improved. Like that. My whole thing is, I kind of just want to be better when I get hired again. Like we talked to Ashley Trulick.
That's his
I
daughter.
mentioned his daughter's
Yeah.
name. Yeah. Carrie.
Carrie
we talked
Trulick.
to Carrie Trulick, this director in town, and it's funny because he cast me, what was it, like 7 years ago or something? I think he said it was.
Yeah, it was quite.
Or
Yeah,
it was like 2010. I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
long time ago.
And so I did a voiceover for him for ASU. And all I can say, Carrie, is that if you hired me to do voiceover again, I would be a different actor. It would be a different experience. And that one worked. It went out. I mean, it was a successful campaign, but he's also improved, I imagine.
Yeah.
And he would never work with me now if my product wasn't better than what it was back then. Right?
Absolutely,
Like 'cause
100%.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about a lot of that stuff too. Actually, all the stuff that's in this book, acting is my day job. Also, just breaking some of this stuff down with how to set yourself up to get auditions and land those auditions at the workshop we have this Saturday. So,
Oh yeah, that's right. We got a big workshop this Saturday. Phoenix Casting is putting on a workshop talking about all the behind the scenes stuff of casting, and truthfully, like, we're gonna open up the book a little bit and show you on the big screen, hey, this is what we see. This is why we choose certain things. This is why we think directors choose certain people. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to learn before you even step into the room. And then we're going to teach what to do once you're in the room and whatnot as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a really good question, though, the do's and don'ts. I love that. Because and I see where your mind is, Gigi, which I appreciate. And it's this idea of tell me what's going to happen because I'm going to land roles. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, you got the right mindset. She's like, okay, when I land the role, what's it gonna be like?
Yeah.
So when I land the role, what are some do's and don'ts? But she's not like, if
How do I get that?
If I do,
Right,
she's
exactly.
like, when it happens very soon, then what's gonna be next?
Absolutely.
Yeah, love that mentality. All right, well, what else can we do for you?
I guess that goes into my next question about landing consistent work.
So that goes back to marketing, and it goes back to again just being talented. You got to show up and leave an impression. So the first couple times, here's the thing. Imagine this. Imagine I got cast in something, and they paid me $1,500, and beforehand I had already invested $1,000 in training, and then I spent another $500 in training to get ready for the role, or even let's just say another 1,000. Let's say you're up to 2,000. So now you're at $500 negative on the job. Then let's say you update your headshots 3 months later. Okay. Now I'm let's go now. I'm now 1,500 in the negative. But what's the impression I left on that director? And that director follows me on Instagram, and I have followed up with that person, and the performance I gave was so good, so transformative, that they know my name, they know my face, they know my brand. From now until forever, unless I screw it up, that is a customer of mine. So we talked about this with our casting agency, which the first 2.5 years we took a negative on it. I mean, we were just being a servant to somebody else. We were I think they were paying us something minimal, but it was like we literally just wanted the experience. We were happy to do it. We were excited to do it. We didn't even know the opportunity that was going to come to us. That
No idea.
ended up coming. That was sort of a twist of fate. But the point of it was like learning. Like we understood. Like we haven't been in this game before, and so we took 2.5 years to be apprentice and learn and grow and be in the negative, and we were okay with that.
Yeah,
like, that's a perspective you can take and say, I'm in this right now, and I'm in my learning phase. And you'll always be in your learning phase, but eventually that gap sort of changes.
Yeah.
So I think to the land consistent work starts with doing the work really well each time, the first time, because now as you land a new client, you have one in your books that loves you, that trusts you, that knows they can work with you, and they will cast you without you having to audition. So now you've got one in the bag, and you want to keep putting more directors and producers and people that trust you in this like bag of resources as you land more stuff. Then you're going to be consistent, and you don't have to worry so much about the competition of auditioning, because you actually eventually don't even have to compete. They just come directly to you.
Yeah, and I'd say on that, there's that maintenance of the clients you've been working with, and then there's taking action. There's getting out there and getting on those, and Matt talks about this in the book, but getting on those national websites and just auditioning consistently around Arizona, getting relationships with the schools that do film work. You talked about the Capstone Project. I know, same with me. When I was starting out, I was always doing a project with SCC or with ASU, and that's how I built up my demo reel. My demo reel was purely from doing stuff like that, and then we were creating our own content on top of that. That's how all of that got going. And being on set, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it. It's like anything. So the more you're showing up to these sets, you're learning from them, they're learning from you. It's like it's a mutual relationship, because you haven't gained all the experience of being on these sets yet. So you get to have that, and they get the experience of having an actor who works as hard as you do. And then these guys, long term, they're the ones who are becoming filmmakers. They're the up-and-comers, is the way Matt describes them. And so they're preparing right now to get out into the world and do that. So if you're forming those relationships while they're in school, while they're learning, especially the seniors, right, and those at the top, then that's going to give you great experience and relationships that haven't even turned into anything yet.
Yeah, yeah, and I go back to this idea of mindset too, Gigi. I think you've got a great mindset, and I would encourage you to keep leaning down that path of faith, like what you expect of yourself and what you know is going to be true. So, how do I consistently work? I work consistently. I mean, that's how you do it. So, I would suggest that you cast yourself in a commercial once every 2 days, once every week, depending on how extensive you're going to be with yourself. And you're going to write a commercial, you're going to produce it on your phone. It doesn't matter that you're going to send it out. You actually can't probably half the time because the company wouldn't allow you to do it. But just do it. Do the work. Do the process consistently. Then you're always working. You're always on your A game. And then by the time the opportunity comes, it's easy for you because you're already doing it. It's something that you're used to doing. You've put in your mind, I work all the time. I land commercials 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I mean, they're mine, but
Well, do a crazy hack there. I mean, find some companies you really care about, smaller companies even, that are like up-and-comers, T-shirt companies, whatever, like somebody that has something that you support, write a little commercial around it, make it, do your absolute best, send it to them.
Yeah.
Why not?
Going back to Kerry Trulick, same idea. So he's sort of a big-time director. It's why we had him on the show. We only have big-time people like yourself, Gigi.
Just big time.
And
big time.
others on the show. But Kerry was on the show, and he told us a story because we were very curious about his start. And going back to ASU, before he worked with me, he got in the door he knew someone who knew someone, and he was a student, so he had no money. He invested pretty much all of his money. It was like, I don't think, $900 or something like that at the time. And he invested his own money into this commercial and then just showed it to him. And like, and they were like, "Oh, good job." I think they used it maybe, and they paid him for it, but basically it was a gamble. Like he didn't know that they were going to use it or not.
They paid him through season tickets.
That's right.
Which he loved.
His payment was season tickets.
Yeah.
So he lost $900. They gave him season tickets as payment to use the commercial, but then he built that relationship. So
And
that's
he
the
became the
idea.
guy for a
That's
while.
the idea of being
Yeah.
in the negative, like being okay with being in the negative, taking a shot. That's a great idea, Brian. I think this is a good note for everybody out there. If you know someone, you like what they're doing, write them something for free. If they're willing to put it out there for free, that's exposure for you.
Yeah.
Like that's huge. Why not? Like why not do that for a company that you like? Let's say you have a niece, nephew, an aunt, uncle, a close relative, a friend, someone who someone who owns a company or is involved in a company, and they're smaller. Like just do something for them.
Yeah, I do it for Instagram for like Next Level Physical Therapy.
You
because
do.
they're
You're
so
always doing
great.
commercials for them, and
Yeah.
they super appreciate it. By the way.
Oh, I'm glad because they're phenomenal. I mean, they've changed my life, and so it's that servant mentality.
And we did
It's
the
that-
same thing for Hanger when they created that brace for you.
We did, absolutely. Like these guys, they do stuff for you, they serve you. So why wouldn't you just serve them back? Like
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer. And as an actor, you're getting, like Matt said, you're getting that experience. You're getting that chance to do that, and who knows how that turns out? Who knows?
It's gonna be good. So when you send positivity out in the world, positivity comes back at you.
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
but you don't know where it's gonna come from.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Gigi, what else you got for us?
So when you're giving a new character, what do you use as your preparation?
When I'm given a character, what do I use for my preparation? I mean, everything I can get my hands on. Really. So I mean, my preparation for character never ends until I'm done performing. So as soon as I get the character, I start learning, studying, go back to their backstory, try to go to ideas like what was their origin story, where are they from, how were they born, what was their relationship like with their parents. I mean, we've got an entire 50 question sheet, as a matter of fact, and I think I included it with the book. Actually, it's something that you can get through the book. But so I start with this 50 question character sheet, and it begins with, what kind of birth did you have? And like, that's a ridiculous question. Like, what kind of birth did you have? But you know what? It makes a difference if I was born in the slums of some, like, inner city, and my mom was on drugs at the time, or if I was born to a scheduled C-section in North Scottsdale. and there's a difference there, and how that baby was born, and what chemicals were in that baby's body when the baby was born, and how they were loved and taken care of, etc. And by the way, not those two stories doesn't mean one baby's better than the other, or even has a better chance. You know, you could be born to a very wealthy family who then just like checks out, and you don't get to see your parents. And that's not necessarily like a great thing either. So, but starting from that place, from that very beginning, is good. And then I like to work on every character from the inside out and the outside in. So I do all the inner work, and then I also try to find them physically using animal work and doing, different walks and all kinds of crazy stuff. And then, like I said, there's never a time I'm done learning about my character.
Yeah, you have to be adaptable. I mean, I've learned that big time in your masterclass. So like, and at first, honestly, Gigi, it can be annoying. So you have to release that idea of, oh, I did all this work. Like, you gotta know that you're gonna have to continue to work and get excited about it. So when it comes to like the 50 questions, as soon as you make a new discovery, as soon as you and your scene partner or even yourself getting prepared, figure something new out, a bunch of stuff changes.
Yeah.
There are certain things that don't, like probably something like your birth wouldn't change, but it might. But there are tons and tons and tons of other things. You make a small discovery, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, if that's true, then this must be true, and this must be true. And actually, I thought it was this, but now it's this. And it actually, if you look at it the right way, becomes very exciting. And the same goes with any one of the exercises. Like the animal exercise, I've come into master classes before multiple times with an animal and been like, yeah, this is the animal. And you're like, but what if? And then I find through you a totally different animal that's 10 billion times better and brings out a better performance in me.
Well, and it's usually just questions, right? So you'd say an animal, and I'd say, okay, why'd you choose that? And you'd go, well, because of this. And I'm like, all right, great. Wouldn't you agree that your character has X trait also? Yeah. Do you see that trait in this animal? No. Then we might need to dig deeper and see if there's a more specific animal we can choose, a different variation even of the same one, whatever. But yeah, so that idea of just constantly looking and seeking ways to get better as a human being, but also as a character, just looking, okay, this character is a living thing. It's not something I create and then it's there. It's like it's always evolving. As I evolve, I'm going to move and change and adapt with my character. As a matter of fact, we did the Lonesome West, Brian and I, and we had already put up the play before, and I'd already worked the character probably 8 years prior. I mean, everything changed. Every single one of my choices. And I'm like, I was a younger actor, a more naive actor. So I'm sure some of the choices I made were fantastic.
Yeah.
For then,
and
for who I was,
Yep.
and for what I had to bring to the table. I think my choices the second time around were better, more specific, a better representation of professionalism, etc. But it doesn't mean that the younger version of me wasn't good in some ways.
He was great. He was great, by the way, because I saw it.
He was fiery, yeah.
So it's just true. It's you. If you're doing it right, you just are getting even better.
Yeah.
And that's because the first time I went to see it, it was great. It really was. Like, I remember being, like, I think I was like 17 or so at the time, and watching it and just being an audience member. I was running Tech for You, and I was just in the back like just awestruck by how good it was. And then this one we put up was, you were so much better, so much further along because you are. And so that's the process. Like, it doesn't even mean that past version wasn't good. It's just that you're never like stopping getting better.
And the second time around, I was the one in the tech booth.
Yeah, there's always a Sweeney in the tech booth, guys. Always a Sweeney.
You gotta have a Sweeney in the tech booth. It's important. So how's your life going, Gigi? You feeling good?
It's definitely different than it was. And I'm really happy being home with my family.
Yeah, that's been a nice benefit, I think, for a lot of people getting to connect into home and stuff. The people that have a nice home that's waiting for them, and so those of us who have that are very blessed. And I think there's this really cool thing going on right now in one of my circles. So I hurt my knee, and I haven't been able to play basketball for almost 2 years. But before that, I probably played basketball every Sunday for like the last 30 years.
For like ever, yeah.
So my dad started the group. I would go when I was a kid. I would just play cards, and then as soon as I was old enough to be on the court, they would let me on. And so I grew up with these people, and now I'm playing with some of their sons and some of their sons, and you know, it's interesting. But anyway, I blew out my knee, so I haven't really been talking to these guys. So I was already like going through this, but then they all had to go through it because of quarantine. They all had to stop playing and stop being around each other. And that was our only thing that we bonded on. It's not like we hung out afterward or did anything else. Like, we like to hit the court. We like to compete. We'd talk a little bit, but really, like, that was our thing, right? Well, anyway, one of the guys started this thing recently where he just was like, hey, guys, I know we normally just sort of, you know, hit the court and all that, but I want you all to know I love you and you're my friends and stuff. And so I just thought I'd start this thread. If anybody wants to be off of it, you can be off. But I'm just going to tell you what's going on with my life right now. And he kind of just like laid it out there. And it was really cool. And the next thing you know, the next guy just jumped on and was like, hey, thanks, dude. That was cool. And laid out where he was at right now. And, you know, and one guy's like, I got laid off right before COVID, thought it was going to be super easy to get a job. And now I've been on unemployment since for like over 4 months. And it's been really tough. But I'm grateful that I've got food on the table for my kids, you know, and like somehow we've made it work. And then another guy's like, you know, I cut back on my plastic surgery for a while, like because we work with doctors and different people. So it's just like, it's interesting that everyone's different perspective on it, but it's been hard on everybody. And just having that moment to connect with other human beings and realize how much that we love each other is like a really neat, really exciting thing. So I think that's something that we could take away from this too, because I know, like Gigi just mentioned, she came home. It's so good to be near her parents, so good to be near her family and connect in. But sometimes we have to be the one to be outgoing. And it wasn't me this time that did it, but I was willing to contribute. I think that that maybe think about that. Think about being vulnerable right now in your life, and which group of people could you reach out to and start a thread like this, or start some sort of an idea of like, hey, I just want to share a little bit about who I am and encourage you to do the same thing. Because people are they're gonna love it, and I think it's really therapeutic. I mean, I'm watching these, like, some of them are 60 years old, some of them are 40 years old, some of them are younger than that, and they're contributing to this little email thread, and I can see it's therapeutic for everybody. Like everybody's like gaining a ton from it. So I think that's really neat. And there's so much to be learned from 2020. You know, I think a lot of people keep going, 2020, it's 2020, and I'm going like, all right. We're never going to forget this year. So lean into it. Take your time, settle in, write some things down, and understand that this is a time when the world is growing at an exponential rate. And you get to be a part of it. And hopefully you're learning and growing and adapting with it. And the only way to do that is to keep a positive mindset. Because if you let yourself go negative, it's very, very easy to go the other direction. And I think that would be just a waste of resources from this year. Because this year is meant to teach us a lot of things. And it's been hard, yes, but a lot of good is already coming from it and will come from it. I believe that.
Definitely, 100%.
All right. Gigi, you've been an amazing guest. Very excited for you and for your landing of Leighton Agency. We fully expect you to be landing jobs very soon. We will be having you audition for us here over at Phoenix Casting as soon as we have a job that is that requires your age and demographic. We will be calling you in immediately. We cannot wait to do auditions with you. We want to remind remind the audience, we have a workshop coming up this Saturday for Phoenix Casting. So if you want to know all the behind the scenes of just the casting industry in general, but specifically the way we do it, and how you can, catch an edge in the audition room and catch an edge here when you audition for us, check that out this Saturday.
Now, wait a second. If I can't come in person, I can't learn then? Is that like a thing?
Well, there is a virtual option, Brian. So
what?
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that was random that you did, but I'm really glad you did.
I was just really curious because I was
so
worried
yeah,
about
so you
it.
can come in person if you happen to be out of town or you're unable to make the timing. There is a virtual option. You can tune in live. You can comment, ask questions, be a part of the workshop that way. And it's going to be very, very cool, really, really powerful. We're excited for it.
Absolutely. So you can check that out on our website, on our classes page under workshops. So make sure to do that.
All right.
All right.
All right, Gigi, you have yourself a great day. Much love to you and your family.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I'd like to do something. Do you have the book, Gigi?
I do not.
What?
JJ.
Part on Amazon.
What's that? What'd you say?
It's in my cart on Amazon.
Boom. Hit the buy button. Do that. I'm going to send you a signed copy. When you get the copy you bought, gift it away to somebody else, please. And then just leave a review. Then you'll be an official customer. But I want you to get the book right away. And so buy it. Thank you for buying it. But I'm definitely going to send you a signed copy that you have that as well. And let's go get some acting jobs, shall we?
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This has been Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Help us spread this light-driven content to the planet. Thank you, and God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.